What's up, everyone? So today I'm going to let you guys in on my daily routine. Usually my day starts off with, waking up, obviously taking a shower and coffee. But if I don't have a client or a project to work on, usually what I'll do is I will look for something to edit. And usually I'll go over to one of the stock sites. Here's a photographer. I like a lot of her work. She has quite a few interesting photos of just real life, just everyday life. And I'm inspired by that. I don't get to shoot a lot of this style photography, but I love seeing it. So I have chosen one of her photos, which is this one here. And let's open that in Photoshop. Where did I put it? It's not a bad image. One of the things that I usually look for when I look at the images is the details. So you can go underneath the image itself. It shows here that this image has been viewed 132,000 times. It's free for use, so you can use it, you can share it, you can do whatever you want with it. She's shooting with a Canon 6D, and this was shot with a 50 millimeter 1.8 lens. The file size is 8 megabytes. It's a little small, but it'll get the job done, just to play with. So it's not bad. The one thing that I am noticing right off is that the eyes are not in focus, and it's a very grainy image. Now that could have something to do with compression from the site, but we could still do something very artsy with this. So let's take a look at, let's go to our curves and see what we're getting here. I want it to be moody, so I'm going to bring the shadows down just a little bit, and then I'm going to raise the highlights just a touch. Get a little light on her. I like that. So that's where we'll start. Okay, so usually what I do, I don't have a plan. I'll just look at the image and I'll say, okay, well, what would I do here if this was a client image? Most clients, one of the things that they always seem to ask for, is softer skin, or if there are lines under the eyes or something like that, can you fix those things? So usually that's the things that I practice, and I'm trying, and as long as I've been doing color grading and photo editing and things like that, you find yourself still learning new ways of doing things. So it just depends on, how you go about doing it. Let's see here. So usually what I would do is I would zoom in and I look for any imperfections, and I would just start, taking those out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to duplicate this layer. And on a Mac, that's Command J. I don't know what it is on a PC. So I would go in and just look for any little imperfections that I see, and I would move those out. Just select them. Like there's a crease here, looks like a vein. There's one. Looks like a little scar here. You hear all these strange sounds in the background? My dog has decided to be very, very loud. And he seems to do this only when I'm recording. If I was sitting here quietly, he wouldn't be making a sound. Now he's probably going to come over and annoy me. But, okay. So we got rid of the majority of those. I have a number of these different panels that I use for retouching. So let's go over here to face, and we're going to look at the eyes, the size of the eyes. With this panel, what's really cool is you can increase the dimension of the eyes. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if we click on this, You see the eyes get larger, and then we could make them wider, a little bit further apart there, okay? The nose I usually don't mess with too much. The mouth, we can make her smile a little bit. Just bring it up just a touch, so it's a little bit more there, okay? Then if we want to increase the lip size, we can do the bottom lip. And then we can go up and do the mouth height. Just to make it a little bit more, you know, puckered lips. And it seems to be what everybody wants in all their photos. Then you can look at other different components of the face, like the forehead. You know, you can make it smaller. You can make it larger. You know, so these are a lot of the things that you would normally be able to do in like liquefy. If you want to mess with the jawline a little bit, you can make it larger, smaller, you know. But like I said, I just play with these sometimes, and it's just, you know, something to keep me busy, get me started on my day. So it has this one here, Retouch Pro. It has an easy feature. Then you also have, you know, normal frequency separation. You have texture, which usually I do. If I use the easy, I will still go back in with the texture and add some texture back to the skin. So we're just going to click on easy, and we're just going to run that and see what we get. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. All right, so let's pick our brush. Oh, that's at 100%. That's fine. We can always lower the opacity. So we're just going to go in here and just start painting out, smooth out the skin around the eyes. Be careful not to use this on any hard lines like the lips themselves. So just kind of go in there. And let's say with her arm, we can soften that also. And what this will do is it'll remove a lot of that graininess that we saw originally in the image. When I first mentioned that, you know, the image looked very grainy, so you can take a lot of that out or correct it. And let's do it here on the leg. Same here. Just smooth it out. Go here on the shoulder. I'm not being very careful with this, guys, so I'm just kind of just knocking it out. I have to do this pretty quickly before my dog decides to get vocal again. All right, so that's a start, right? So then what we could do is we could go back in with our texture, and let's zoom in. And you can still see quite a bit of the graininess there. You know, so we could go back over to the easy if we wanted to, and we could still get rid of some of that. But this doesn't have to be perfect. You know, it's just a way of practicing your skills and looking for easier ways to speed up your workflow. That's usually what I do. But it's also kind of a Zen thing for me. You know, I just do this for the most part just to keep myself centered. So I missed that area there. And you see the discoloration? I mean, that's just from the compression of the image. So, I mean, we can cover up some of that with maybe a color grade or something like that. But we're going to go over here to texture. And we're going to try, see how hard that is? Look at that. Look how thick that is. Well, obviously that's not what we want. So we're going to bring that texture all the way down to maybe about 5%, just so we can add some texture back into the skin. And 5% might actually be still too much, but you know, we're going to add a little bit of texture back in, just so she doesn't look like a plastic doll. And let's zoom out so I can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to use a larger brush. Just add a little bit of texture, as the face should have texture. Human skin has texture. So we're going to add just a little bit of that back in. Any place that you soften the skin, you want to go back in to some degree and add some texture back to it so it doesn't look artificial. I mean, the whole thing is artificial when you really think about it, but you know what I mean. So let's get that. All right, that's pretty good. Let's look at our mask. So on the Mac, you can hold the Option and click on the layer itself, the layer, and then you can go in if you wanted to. You can paint in more detailed, areas that you may have missed. So again, like I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to get it close enough. But I'll go ahead and fill in some of these. I don't have to do them all. I'm just showing you kind of my workflow. So I don't want this to be a 30-minute video. All right, so that looks pretty good. Then again, Option click, we'll turn it back. Command 0. Okay, so let's close this panel for now because it's in the way. So let's zoom in here. And I mean, if you're looking at it from there, it's really not that bad. If you go back, I mean, you can see there's a lot going on here, but these are just the steps that you've gone through, to get to this point. So if you go back in your history, because here are all your brush strokes, and you go to open, you can see a huge difference as we zoom in versus, where we are right now. So again, like I said, it's just, trial and error, play with the different effects, see what works for you. So the things that I usually identify with, that I know that I'm going to want to adjust or correct somewhat, maybe, I want to add a little bit of smokiness to the eyes and something to the lips. So let's go back over to, which panel were we just using? I don't remember. Yeah, okay. So we go to face, makeup. So we're going to do mouth and lips. Okay, so there's no teeth to whiten. You can dodge and burn the lips, but we're not going to do that, obviously, in an image like this. So we're just going to add some lipstick. And based on the tonality of the image, I think like a little peach or something like that, maybe this color would work. So let's choose our brush. And we just want to add just a little touch of color. Now this is going to start out really hard. But then you can go back in and adjust the opacity. So it's at 100 now. So we want to bring that to, I don't know, maybe about 64. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out here and see what we got. And yeah, so if we zoom back in, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's there, so it's something. It still looks better than the original image, so I'm going to leave it at that. So we have the opacity at 70% on this nude color that I chose for her lips, and I'm just going to close that panel. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and group all of this stuff together, and I'm just going to make a folder. So then I can go in and turn everything off and everything back on. And you guys can see, from the face modifications that we made, as well as, skin toning and texturizing, you can see all the different details there. So the other thing that we can do is we can go over to eyes and we can add, Where is it? Where is it? I can't remember in this panel. I don't know if this one has the makeup that I'm looking for. I know it's not under hair. Okay. Well, we'll just use a different panel. Now, like I said, it's important to learn how to do this manually. But if you don't want to waste the time, I'm not going to say it's wasting time, but if you don't have the time to learn all of these different setups, to be able to create all of these different layers and, actions and what have you, these panels come in really, really handy, when you're trying to really just knock something out. So if we go in here under hair and makeup and hair, we can look for our Smokey Eye, which is this one. And it tells you pretty much right here, brush tools, where you're going to apply it, gently apply it, eyebrows or, for the Smokey Eye look, right? So it's going to be right over this area here. So let's just make a smaller brush. Just do one, run over. We just want to just add just a little bit of smoke in there. Turn it on, off. Okay, that works for me. And we zoom out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this into this group. So I can turn it all off at one time. Yeah, that works. And zoom out. So let's go ahead and crop this image. So it's a little ethereal, dreamy. That's kind of what I was going for. I like it moody, but, as if there was really, really good light, but this is still a little bit too bright. So we're going to also adjust the lighting on the image as well. But I just wanted you guys to understand, some of my workflow. There's so many things that you can do. For instance, you can go here into scenes and you can create, different effects. But I jump all over the place, so it just depends on what's on my mind. So I like, this as it is. So let's adjust the brightness. I'm going to bring that down just to flatten it a little bit. Yeah, I like that. I'll just drop that in the group as well. Works for me. Okay, so simply enough, there's our image. That's the original. And that's after. Now, this is a little heavy-handed, I think. But, again, it's up to your taste. It's also up to exactly what the client is looking for, so, you're going to have to figure that part out on your own. But I'm just showing you guys an idea of, kind of my workflow. So, in the future, I'll do more videos where I go more in detail with, the nuts and bolts. And even, hopefully here really soon, I'll be able to record some of the photo shoots. And then we can just go through it, from the beginning, the preparation, the photo shoot itself, how I select the images, the, post editing, and then the delivery, to the client. So, look forward to those videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so. If you're interested in seeing something like that, that will be coming up pretty soon. All right, guys, I'm going to bring this video to an end. I hope you all are having an amazing day. Get out and create something. Remember, stay safe. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.